Some names in football history are not just players, they are a moment, a feeling, a symbol of a dream. Neymar Jr. is exactly such a name. A boy who was not born under the spotlight of fame, but born in a place where surviving itself was a daily struggle, and dreaming was the biggest risk of all. This story is not just about goals, trophies, or the cheers of a stadium. It is the story of a boy who grew up in poverty and learned how to never give up. A boy who didn't know as a child if he would become the best in the world, but he was certain he would never stop trying. Neymar Jr.'s first playground was not an academy, it was the winding streets of Brazil. There, he learned how to prove himself in every single moment. Those streets taught him freedom, and it was that very freedom that would one day set him apart from the crowd of the world. In today's story, we will see how this boy from the streets became a star on the world stage, how alongside praise came pressure, criticism, and pain. This is not just the story of Neymar Jr.'s rise, it is the story of survival. On the very day Neymar Jr. first stepped onto the field wearing the Santos jersey, he realized this was not just a match, it was a moment that could change the course of his life. With every touch, with every dribble, it was as if he was saying, "I'm here, watch me." In a very short time, Neymar Jr. became the center of everyone's attention. Media, fans, experts, everyone was saying the same thing. Brazil had found its new hero. But just as quickly as fame arrives, its pressure quietly settles in just as fast. When Neymar Jr. steps onto the field wearing the national team jersey, he is never alone. He carries the hopes of an entire nation with him. Every mistake brings criticism. Every success brings celebration. Bearing this weight was never easy, especially at such a young age. That was when the call from Europe came. The biggest clubs in the world were watching Neymar Jr. closely. The decision was not an easy one. Leaving his country, his people, his beginnings, and stepping into the unknown is something not everyone can do. Finally, Neymar Jr. chose Barcelona. It was not just a transfer, it was a challenge to prove himself all over again. Here, having talent alone was not enough. Here, you had to survive. The brighter the lights of Barcelona shone, the deeper his shadows grew. Standing among the world's best players, Neymar Jr. had to prove again and again that he was not just talent, he was worthy of this place. And along this path came pain, criticism, and decisions that would one day astonish the entire football world. At Barcelona, Neymar Jr. was not just joining a new club, he was stepping into the heart of history. In this team was someone whose name made the football world tremble, Messi. On the same field, wearing the same jersey, one was the king, the other the heir. But the question remained, would Neymar Jr. stay in the shadow, or would he create his own light? Over time, rivalry turned into friendship. Messi and Neymar Jr. communicated on the field through their passes, and a glance into each other's eyes made it clear. They were not just teammates, they were each other's strength. From this bond was born a kind of football that people still cannot forget today. This was the golden chapter of Neymar Jr.'s career. Even the world's best defenders hesitated to stand against him. Dribbling, speed, imagination, combining it all, he had become a complete footballer. But behind the success, there was pain, injuries, criticism, and the question, was he truly recognized for his own talent, or was he being overshadowed by someone else's name? These questions slowly began to stir a storm within Neymar Jr. It was at that moment that Neymar Jr. faced a decision, one that was not safe but essential for discovering his own identity. To stay or to leave. Standing between these two choices, he was about to take a path that would shake the entire football world. When Neymar Jr. decided to leave Barcelona, it was not just a transfer. It was a declaration of stepping out of his own shadow, leaving the safe place, choosing the hardest path. Not everyone can make that decision. And with just this one decision, the entire football world stood still. At PSG, Neymar Jr. was no longer just a star. He became the face of the entire project. Here, there were no shadows of others, but the pressure was even greater than before. The expectations were clear. He would not just play, he would lead. But the body cannot always keep up with the mind. Injuries repeatedly held Neymar Jr. back. Sitting off the field, he could see how quickly criticism can overshadow love. This was the loneliest chapter of his life. Yet Neymar Jr. did not give up. Every comeback was a silent message. He was far from finished. Whenever everyone doubted, he stood up again, because he knew his story was still unfinished. Neymar Jr.'s legacy cannot be measured by trophies alone. His legacy lies hidden in the courage of a boy who took risks despite fear. He taught us that success does not mean being perfect. Success means rising again and again. This was the story of Neymar Jr., not of a perfect career, but a story of real life. If this journey has touched your heart and you want to hear more stories like this, then subscribe to the channel. Because some stories are meant not just to be seen, but to be felt.